And there we go. We are live on a Sunday evening. Truth Proof Interactive. Your program. You have your say. You can tell us exactly what you want to talk about in the chat tonight. And welcome, Paul, to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Les, and welcome to yourself. You had a good weekend?
Hey, not too bad. Yeah, usual stuff for family and what have you. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy all day today, and I managed to sort of get out this afternoon for an hour with little dog and what have you. But great to see everybody in. I mean, it's close to 100 people in here now already. So
Wow. Yeah.
brilliant. And every Sunday, thanks for support,
So,
guys. Honestly.
yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. Echo what Paul just said. And we haven't seen your little dog in many videos lately, Paul. Are you going to feature him in
Oh,
some more?
he's got, yeah, I'm thinking of doing a little film of all his antics. But yes, good idea, is that, Les? Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
somebody who sent me some cartoons of him. I think I showed them earlier, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
And they'd done
yeah.
some little caricatures, so I thought I'd just put a little short together of him because he does loads of crazy things. At the moment, he looks like Nasher from Dennis the Menace because fur's gone out. He's bulking up a bit. He looks like he weighs about 4 stone, but when in fact he weighs about as much as a bag of sugar. But
yeah, it's probably been in that gym room that you've got at the back of the garden.
I need to get in it because I'm about as fit as dog. I think. Well, I'm not as fit as dog, but anyway, enough of my ramblings.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Yeah, we're going for 150 people here now, so let's have a look. We've got Ian Linney in. I hope you enjoyed Flixton today, Ian. Mike Disabled Welshman, Studio 20. Is it Studio 20? 21-1, Scotch Miss, Zero Dawn, Rod Linney. We've done that one, haven't we? Sober Carper, Bumps in the Night, MA Grandma, Space Cow, Jan Smith, Scotch Miss, Steve 071, Moon Dog. Oh, Jess is in, my daughter, Jessica Pym. Alison's doing moderating as well, and so is Lee. Thank you very much. Melinda, Patrick, Daniel, good to see you, Patrick. Mrs. Linney probably be in. I know Pete's in because I spoke to him earlier today. Get yourself in on chat, Pete. Don't just sit on sidelines. You're getting better now. I'm sure you can manage to work a mouse. Declan Walsh, Vladimir, Maverick, Steve Tees, Hezo, Jan Smith. We're going to have to stop. Ginge. Right. Kim King. Right. Just on slow down now. Let's just what? O'Connell. One more. We're just doing it. Then to another one. Come on, Jim Smith. Right. Come on then. So we've had a busy week. I've been doing a few shorts for YouTube channel, and I've done one for last transmission as well. Al Durham's in, Martin Abbas. I can't stop it. I've got to stop looking at it. So yeah, it's been a busy week. I think I'm getting a bit faster at this editing, to be honest with you, because where one would take me hours and hours, I'm getting through them a bit quicker. So what's been happening then, Les?
Right. So basically, I think a good little sad topic for tonight for people in the stream. I've just been looking at all these planet alignments. There's how many? 6 planets.
Alignments.
All aligned. Yeah. I know you say aligned. I say alignment. You say tomato. I say tomato. Yeah.
Come on then.
And so I'm just wondering if this affects people's psyche. Does it bring people's I don't know, awareness up?
What kind of raise them?
Yeah. Does it raise your levels up? Have you noticed anything? I mean, because people, other than me, I'm thinking here, are more susceptible to, in just slight shifts in gravity or shifts in whatever. I don't know. Does it affect you, in other words?
It'd be interesting to know what they think, and it could do, but it also could be a placebo effect. Whereas you say these things and people think it is affecting them, and maybe it is indirectly, because maybe everything, like we've said before, starts here, and and we just underestimate how powerful this is, and that's the tool. The planet alignment might help. I know that I spoke to a few police officers who've told me that they dread it on a Friday and a Saturday night if it's a full moon, because they know that there's going to be trouble. It seems to bring out a bit of badness in people.
Yeah.
So is there something to this? Do you know what I mean? It's a gravitational pull, isn't it? We primarily, I don't know what composition people are. We composed of water. Martin will know this. I think we're at least 60% water.
90% water in it.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
And Dave Barker's in, Welsh Wen, Tonya Morrison, Ian McFadden. Let's have a look. Dragonborn, Space Cow. Let's have a look. And Les has put his Loch Ness one out this week. What did you think to it, people?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's seen it yet. Well, I know somebody's seen it because I have replied to some comments, and it's out there. And it's only
Okay.
and it wasn't an in-depth, as people know if they've already seen it. It wasn't an in-depth investigation into this, that, the Loch Ness side of and the stories. It was just a personal journey to meet up with the Nessie man, really.
Well,
Steve Felton.
which you enjoyed, Les, and I know you're going again, so that's
Yeah.
good. Well, earlier this week, a guy who I'm just going to call John contacted me earlier in the week, and he sent me some video, which is phone footage, and he sent me about 6 pictures, and he's been wild camping on Dartmoor. A really, really seasoned camper, this guy in his 50s, knows his stuff, goes away. He could spend weeks out in wilds and quite comfortably manage it without taking much food in or anything. He knows how to live and live off the land. And his initial email, and now I've spoken to him, and we've exchanged loads of messages actually the last few days, but I've spoken to him a few times. His initial email, or he says, I've hunted all my life, humanely and just to eat.
Yeah.
We're not talking about for fun. And I thought I'd seen everything, but I've seen something now that is just basically not of this earth. Wow. And the footage, I was really hoping I could glean some upfront footage, and he sent it me, and I've looked at it, and basically it's a big hollowed out tree with lots of, we'll say, honeysuckle and ivy and other things growing around it. So it's very dark, and there's a river which is pristine, and phone footage is good. And basically it's this guy walking along the riverbank. He's seen it. He's already took some pictures. Now, one of the pictures, I'll be honest with you, it looks like a black bear, but he's there. He's there on location. It's him. He's there in Dartmoor. Can't have been a black bear. That's the only thing he could compare it to, though. So there's a picture there that does look like the head coming out of a black bear, or something resembling that. Wow. And then he said, and then he there's a fallen tree, and he were wanting to get over the fallen tree to get closer to it, but he didn't know if he were brave enough. And he started filming it. He says, and it just dissolved into blackness. He said it were blacker than the blackness, almost shiny black. He couldn't even describe what he were looking at. In the actual blackness. He says, now I ran back to my camp to get a thermal, which was a mistake. He told me it might make it thermal and everything. So I write all this up. Said it was a massive mistake. He says, I should have just carried on taking pictures or film and just stayed there. He says, because when I got back and put thermal on, there's nothing there. And this is, I've got the exact location. And it's not that I'm not telling you guys, I can't even remember it at this moment. I've just put Wild Camper Dartmoor as a reference to talk to you guys tonight about it, but I will be going into detail. So I know the exact place, and we're only talking like a few weeks ago, late last week, and early last week, should I say? So he's seen this thing that's totally changed his perception on just what could be out there. Never seen it like it before or since.
Wow, and I'm guessing he kind of wasn't into the subjects of cryptids or anything like that before this episode came up?
No. I won't say no interest. I don't know enough about him to say no interest, but from what I can gather, no. Because he said, I've seen something that the likes of, I don't think I'd ever see anything like this again. I didn't think anything like this could exist. He says, it's not of this earth. And I said, how big? And he told me that he's about 15 stone, 5'9", 5'10". He says, this thing were way bigger than him. And he says, what would you compare it to when you got a glimpse of it? He says, because it kind of moved and just became blackness. That's what he said. It just kind of moved and just became blended in, but became, he says, a shiny black. Now, I'm only repeating what he's told me. So I can't imagine it. I can imagine polythene, visqueen, shiny black, but you can't imagine what this man's seen if it's moving in the way and it's just black, a black shape that's moving, but originally it had form. And when it's put its head out, you can see something that resembles either a big canine or a bear's head. And I know that photograph belongs with that footage. It's the same location. And so even if we can't glean anything from the footage because you can't, I don't know, add enough light to it and get anything out of it, you can say that that photograph is completely genuine. It's of that location, in those conditions, in them light conditions. And there's a series, I think there's 6 photographs. And brilliant.
I mean, that's interesting, that, because I was picking up late last year of an uptake in people seeing things, whether they saw what was similar to what this guy is reported to. I don't know, Paul, but that's interesting because if we can get other people that have had some experiences like that, that'd be great to get them witness accounts as well.
Absolutely, and well, I hope to speak to him more. And it might be possible. You might be able to get something out of the footage. All I've done is throw it into DaVinci Resolve, but it might want to go in another program. You might be able to highlight it and get something out of it. So you know what I mean. But I can't get any more out of it. But the photograph, one of them photographs, the head's there. So it's a fascinating story. But then on top of that, Les, and I mean, we can go with some questions if you want, but on top of that...
I'm just going to remind everybody in the chat, if they want to send something through, please send it through. Any experiences you've had that you want to talk about, just put them in the chat, and anything that we're talking about tonight, please put questions in there as well. And please put them in caps, and I can...
Well, I can see one there. I don't know whether you want me to read it, because Paul and Les did... Go on. It's about Wolflands.
Sorry, I can't see it, Paul, at the moment. Yeah.
Well, I'll just read it. Did Wolflands include sightings at Warncliffe Woods in Sheffield? Well, I can tell you, Kitty, that it didn't. No, but I've had some incredible accounts from Warncliffe Woods. Seriously, and it's multi-phenomena as well, as you know. I mean, we got the guy who had his experience with his 3 friends in Warncliffe Woods when they went in, and he picked his friend up by the calf, and that stayed with him all his life. And then there's the lady who saw the UFO and then went for a walk with her friends, and she saw what she perceived were aliens. It's just some great stories out of that area. I see Laura's in, my daughter. Hi, Laura. Blue Shift Rob's in. Let's have a look. Maverick. Bumps in the Night, we've said. Let's have a look. Cat in a Hat. Oh, it's good, isn't it? And yeah, let's go. So if we haven't got any... Come.
Yeah, no, there's a few questions coming, but first of all, we're going to talk about some great footage that you've taken of these orbs lights, which is pretty much as good as anything we've seen up to now.
Yeah, just before, I think it's good, and thanks for building it up, Les. I appreciate that. But this is just an everyday night up at Bempton and up at Speeton, to be honest with you. And I just thought I'd put this on. So. And Linny were with me when we filmed these, but I moved away from Ian and Jeremy, and I'm not sure if Mark were there. And when I looked through psionics, and he'll back me up on this, there was low cloud cover out at sea. I know you're going to get to see it. And there were lights in clouds that you couldn't see with naked eye, and they were moving. I don't think it's that great, but it's an absolutely pitch black night, no moon. So put it up, Les, if you want.
Okay, we'll get that on a
I don't think it's earth shattering. It's grainy because it's pitch black. So there's an hand pointing. Is there any audio, Les?
Yeah, do you want the audio? Well, it's a bit windy on the audio.
And Linny's swearing as well. You better not.
Yeah.
Terrible that, Ian. I never swear myself.
So what we're looking at here, Paul?
Well, basically, the yellow light, if you want to pause it a minute, that light there is obviously the lads stood on the stand.
So this is the stand what juts out a little bit from the...
I'm away from them, obviously. Yeah. Now, this is a good quality low light camera, so you can see how dark it was. The yellow light is a boat on the horizon. The darkness above that is cloud. But if you can see those 3 lights, they're in cloud, and there's a light just below it. None of those were visible to the naked eye. And we're actually saying that, actually, if the audio come on, but and you might not want to play audio. But go on, Les.
Okay, we'll just let it run through, and then we're seeing these lights now.
They're not stars. The stars above, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. There's one drop below cloud, which would have been visible, but those in the darkness of the cloud weren't visible to naked eye. And there were things like that all night, and we're getting a lot of that where we're seeing lights not visible to the... And that's another one that we filmed. I'm not saying it's not man-made. It was totally silent. Ian will back me up. Play that through to endless, because... Who thinks it might be a flare? I'm not so sure, but you do see a trail coming through it towards the end. But it travels right down towards Scarborough. I filmed it for about 6 minutes. And
kind of what angle was it? You know, from ground level there, from the sea level, what angle?
It's well up above sea level. This, I mean, I don't know what altitude it would be.
45 degrees more. I mean, how high are you looking up in the sky to see this?
Oh, we're looking up. If I don't know, if say our eye level was 3 o'clock, we'd be looking at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
Right.
But can you see this trail coming from it? So, so some people might say, "Oh, that's a flare." Well, why ain't it illuminating sky around it? and it doesn't burn out. It goes on for another 4 hours, but 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And that trail kind of peters out, but it does
Yeah.
look like smoke to me. I'm not ruling out that these aren't man-made. We're not after trying to proclaim to you guys that we've captured alien technology, but it's just typical. This stuff's being filmed every night when we're up there. And we just thought we'd just put a little bit up. Not a flare, Paranormal Coffee Lounge says.
Okay.
Well, something tells me, well, it starts to pulse as well, but not flashing as in navigation lights.
I see it pulsing now. Just see it pulsing, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Something tells me it's more likely to be man-made than anything else, but I just
pulsing
find it
fairly regular, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go.
That's it, yeah.
Thoughts on a postcard, please. And
amazing.
Yeah.
And because of the amount of people posting anomalous lights, it's on par with what's been seen around the country. And this was taken some time ago, though, wasn't it, Paul? It's not recent.
What, this? No, these were last night. These were last week.
These were last night. Sorry.
Last week. Sorry.
Right,
these were last week. I think they were Friday night. But I mean, we'll go up there Wednesday. We'll go up there Monday, and you can guarantee that we'll film something similar. We don't bother putting half of it up, but we had is it John Tedesco on Thursday, and they showed some footage, and which was really interesting. But we should start showing the footage that we've obtained, because it's a lot of it's a lot clearer than that. It was just that I just kind of threw that over to Les tonight and said, just play that.
Okay, so I can move on with what I've earmarked for myself here. So Carol Pointer, as regards the alignment or alignment, as Paul wants to say, of the planet. I'm affected by moon phases, sleep always affected when a full moon, very restless. So yeah.
And do you know something, Carol? There's got to be something to this, because you get people, don't they? They call them lunatics, or you're ruled by the moon, and obviously it's affecting mood. And you're a pointing question, Carol.
Yeah, and let's have a look. Kim King, Loch Ness, really enjoyed the video last night.
I wonder why you put that one up, Les.
There's quite a lot.
A lot of Loch Ness ones, are there?
Maverick 64, if the moon controls a tide, doesn't it make sense that humans, which are between 50 and 75% water, will also be affected in some way?
Exactly, I think so, Maverick. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I like your little thumbnail there, mate. That's great.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Similar thing here from FL 2012, full moon affects parasites, which affects behavior. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Parasites. Yeah. And Dragonborn self and saying we are mostly water, therefore governed by the tides emotionally. Kind of what you're saying there, Paul, innit? Valdemir says, Les, that video from Scotland was an amazing video. Well done. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And right, here we go. A question for you, Paul. Dragonborn. Paul, when are we going to get the results from the second remote viewing experiment?
Well, I think you asked me this, Dragonborn, actually other week, and I said I'd speak to Martin, and I did speak to him before I come on here tonight, but not about that, Dragonborn. So I'll have a natter to him. He'll be busy tomorrow, but maybe tomorrow evening, and we'll see what we can get. We'll see what we can tell you next week. That basically, it'll be Thursday when we do Truth Proof live stream, if we've got any news about that, and if that's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Zeno is saying the ligament I've heard a few times that the combined gravity waves and the feedback effect with their magnets makes us go loopy every time. Don't know what to make of that. As Paul says, is it placebo?
It could be, Zeno, but there's got to be something to it, aren't there? If on a full moon, if it's a busy night out on a weekend and there's a lot more fighting, I wonder if people have correlated it. I wonder if anybody's ever looked back at phases at moon and looked when there's been nights of absolute violence. And, I know you're going to get it on any given night. You're going to get it during football matches and with away fans and what have you. But I think they should start to show through. Might be a good project, not for me, but for people to look into.
Yeah, and obviously that sort of like proves that it ain't coincidence, really. You know, when you get repetitions of the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what you can. This is what you're trying to find, is it not? With the stratification tool
With
that
the
you've developed
stratification
for
tool,
Martin
yeah.
Abbas. Yeah.
Hopefully, with enough documented cases, you might start to see some patterns, even if it just throws up one little anomaly, one little quirky thing that we never realized before. Because there's a lot of questions. We realize it's quite detailed. There's a lot to fill in,
Mm.
and like Martin says, you don't have to fill it all in, but it's the only way we're going to make any a sort of movement forward with this.
Okay, and let's have a look. Richard Crooks, hi. Well, let's tell us more about the fright he and his wife had in the RSPB car park. Well, basically, yeah, for those that haven't heard that, I had a motorhome. We decided to spend the night in the upper car park, and anybody knows the area, RSPB, there's two car parks, a very small one at the top, and then as you drive down, wind yourself down, you're in the main car park. We were at the top, and I think there's a gate there to a field, which is just an arable field, isn't it, Paul? That one, just all arable.
There's a few gates, but you were on top car
Yeah,
park
yeah.
anyway.
And but basically, we got parked. So to do what you usually do, have a bite to eat, blah blah blah, watch a bit of TV. And now it got to about, I don't know, about 11:30 at night, and the wife's a bit restless. And I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I don't feel." And there was nobody about. The one as if it wasn't as if there was another car there, or there was torches being,
Shone into your windows.
shone into there. Yeah, nothing like that. We were there all alone. Anyhow, as the next half hour went by, she was even more nervous. And then I had the instruction to pack everything up and get ourselves back home. So, what can you do? I had to do that because obviously she wouldn't have slept. And what would be the point in being there? So we had to come back.
So,
Luckily for us, I mean, it's only an hour's drive from there back to where we live. So it wasn't a bigger deal. So we came back.
so out of all the places that you travelled with your motorhome with your wife, how many times did that happen?
None.
None. Just there.
None. It was just there. I tried obviously to ask to try and get what the problem was out of her, you know what I mean? But she couldn't put, when you just can't put your finger on something,
Yeah.
but like intuitive or.
And just for people in chat, this is long before you ever had anything to do with Truth Proof, me, or anything.
Yeah.
How long since? Yeah. How long ago?
I can't remember, Paul.
Well, it's got to be what, 10, 12 years?
Oh yeah, probably about within the 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
There
like
you
that.
go.
Yeah. So it's it was strange, and why and the other thing you got to remember about this, my wife is not spooked by anything really. Do you know what I mean? No influences come on her and saying, "Oh, we've got to move. We've got to come from here," or "I'm frightened about this." She's never done that before in her life.
No, well, she's had to wake up outside of you, Les. After that, she's not going to be frightened, is she?
Probably, yeah. So there we go. So that's so Richard. I've gone through the story again, but I can't add any more to that really. And that's what it was, and we left. So yeah.
Very good. He knows I'm only joking.
I mean, people say women have better intuition than fellas, Paul, as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And all that. But
Well,
yeah.
obviously, something rattled it in it that night, and it's interesting.
Because I couldn't hear any sounds outside. I couldn't hear anything untoward. Obviously, I peered out. I opened the door, and nothing there. I mean, actually, when she went into that mode, it kind of rubbed off on me a little bit and gave me the
All right,
EBGB.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously opening the door and maybe expecting something, and but there wasn't nothing. So that's the story to that one. Right, I'll move on with this one from Steve071. Paul, it's Paul. Do you have any doppelganger reports? I've been told twice that
Free saw me
at times. It couldn't have been me. Friends, is it or whatever?
No,
it couldn't have been me as I was elsewhere.
No, I haven't, to be honest. And I love questions like this, Steve-O, because I wonder if we get any now. Do you know what I mean? It's funny, like you just brought it up, and no. Nothing that springs to mind anyway. And I don't know what people in chat have got any experience of anything like that. It'd be interesting to find out.
I've got a good report here from Scotch Mist. My brother saw a cryptid on Fenwick Moor in Scotland. Never made it public, but it had been seen by others. About 4 foot tall. Looked in his car window. Ran away at high speed. It terrified him.
Wow, I bet it terrified him. And I'd love to hear more about that one. I guess you knew I was going to say that. And 4 foot tall. Obviously, you can only answer us in here. But I mean, what, it on 2 legs? I'm assuming. Fenwick Moor, Scotland, and seen by others. Do you mean it was seen by others with your brother that night, or seen by others over a period of time? I'd love to find out more about that. That would be great. Just like the Flixton sightings that I was told about last Friday, which we'll touch on if we have time. If we haven't, we'll just carry on with questions.
Okay, Matthew Cook comes in with, I was told in 1994 to watch Geology because that is what certain non-human interaction is concerned about, and not what humans are doing. I was also told 2027 could be the year to watch. Has True Proof heard anything about that?
No, but I mean, you're as got your finger on the pulse as much as I have, I think, and most people in chat have, because you're all vested in your own particular niche and what have you. But why not? And I wonder why geology. I wonder if as soon as you said that, Matthew, I was thinking to myself, is it because of what humans are doing that can affect, I don't know, the structure of the Earth, or is there nothing that we're doing that's bothering them? I mean, obviously it's all hypothetical. We've no idea, have we? But why 2027? I don't know. Matthew, you've probably got a reason why 2027, or were you just told that? Did they say what were going to happen? Did this? I don't know. It's all open ended.
Okay, and wow, I've got no more questions starred for myself here, Paul. So I don't know if you want to move on with it.
Well, I can just do this one because I can see it. The Fenwick cryptid on 2 legs, seen by others on a different occasion. Yeah, and thank you, Scotch Mist. Yeah, it's fascinating, and what I love is these repeat areas, because, like you said, it never became public. I mean, you're talking about it now, but these repeat areas. So if you've no more questions there, Les, I'll just touch on Friday. I went to Flixton, and everybody knows I've written about the accounts of the Flixton werewolf and the strangeness of the area. And it was a lady who'd been walking in Flixton Woods with her husband and 2 dogs, 2 spaniel dogs. And if you've not seen the short on last transmission, have a look at it. And they're walking down the hill towards not the main road, but towards the path out of the woods. And it banks up on either side. It's I would say about 5 or 6 foot. And their spaniels are up on the banking, and you can see all roots at trees as you're walking down. You've been up there, Les, haven't you? We know what it's like. She says, and so obviously dogs are in a peripheral as she's walking down with her husband. That's what she thought, because she said suddenly, about, I don't know, 50 to 60 feet away, one of her spaniels come charging up. It must have ran down and doubled round. And she said it was screaming its head off, as in yelping, and frightened to death. Nothing had hurt it. It was frightened. And it went straight past her and just disappeared. She said it was a rescue dog, and it wasn't good around people or other dogs. So they were worried because it had shot off. But more concerning, they thought their 2 dogs were walking along the side of them, paralleling them. And when they looked, there's one of their spaniels, and then about 3 or 4 foot away, there's the back of a black animal and a long bushy tail. But that's all there were. Just a back and a bushy tail, and they can see it moving along. And they can't see legs, they can't see a head. They can see nothing apart from this back, and it's just paralleling their dog, which is really disturbing them. And obviously we've got to attribute that their dog has ran because of something connected to this. So she said with that, she went back up the hill, husband went down, and they're looking for this dog. She contacted her husband, said, I'm going home for my whistle. We can't leave this dog on its own. It's not safe it's a vulnerable dog. So anyway, she went for a whistle, gets back up the hill, and they drove up there. And her husband said, she called her husband, contacted him, and then this was 2015. And her husband said, I've found the dog. And she said, yeah. She said, well, I'm here. She said, and what are you going to do? She said, well, get the dog in the car quickly. He says, because this thing's following me. And it were following them. This furry black tail, big bushy tail, and a back. And it were following them. Now, how incredible is that? Because when I were told the story, I've already been told one similar from where I've been told it, that woodland. Not only that, another guy came to share his account same day, unconnected from last year. Within 200 yards of where they saw this thing, he's walking with his partner, this guy, Dave, and he's on this film as well. And he's looking up into the woods, and he's about 200 yards away, and he sees a black rectangle about 2 foot off the ground moving through the trees. Staxton Wall Radar Base is literally a quarter of a mile behind them. So I'm not saying it should have detected this. I'm just saying that just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
And I said to him, did it have sharp edges? He goes, no. He says, I'm just using that as reference. It was kind of just rectangular shaped, and it's just moving through the trees. He said, I said to my partner, can you see that? Partner's very skeptical. I said, yeah, I can. He said, what do you think it is? We've no idea. He says, I'd have thought it were a shadow off a vehicle, but there's no vehicles. You're in the middle of a wood. There's nothing there. So I find it fascinating because where he told the story is where this lady from 2015 told the story. So we've got a location here, that deserves a little bit more time and effort invested in it. Maybe spending some time up there, to be honest with you. And I'm game for doing that. And really interesting. I love stories like that because they just don't fit with anything that we think that should fit with true paranormal. When people are looking for ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, we've got this. Something that seems to be half in our world and half out of it. Fascinating.
Yeah. No, that is a fascinating stories there, Paul. And, connections is a thing. This is what you got to look at. Right, Paul, as Steve L71, Paul, has a dogman encounter ever been reported of them eating or attacking someone?
We've got reports of them creating extreme fear. That seems to be more the game of these things.
Yeah.
I think
but you have one of physical contact, though, haven't you, Paul?
Go on.
And that was in Sheffield.
Oh, well, the physical, well, whatever that was. I mean, you're right.
Wherever that was, yeah.
Whatever it was, whether it was Dogmound related or Bigfoot related, this thing picked the camper up, the wild camper, by the calf, and not the ankle. It picked him up by the calf, and all the witness said, and we've got him. If you go through the shorts, if you go through the films, what we've put on here. I don't know what number it is, Les, but it's on if people want to watch this guy's interview. And he's sat on it for years. I think the only person he's ever told it to is his wife and a few close friends. And he's in his 50s now. And he went into Warncliffe Woods with 2 of his friends, and they're doing some wild camping, lit a fire. He were on fire duty. His friends were having a sleep, sat against a tree, says, and he just nodded off. And then he heard the crack of a branch and became wide awake, and kind of got that feeling that something wasn't right. And he says, and next thing, I can remember him saying it to me, and if you watch this, you'll hear him saying it, all hell broke loose. He says, because I could hear my friend screaming his head off, and I looked at him, and this thing's holding him, and I can see its hand and its arm in the firelight, and it's just holding him straight out. He described his friend as a 16-stone bodybuilder.
Yeah.
He said, and it's just holding him like a little baby. And he's screaming his head off, and it dropped him. He said, and then all night long, they suffered because they couldn't get out of the forest or the woodland. Intense
I've been in there myself.
Every 20 minutes, he said, it exploded, and they were all around us, breaking trees and breaking limbs. And I've got a theory about this breaking trees and breaking limbs, because he didn't talk about the woodland being smashed to bits by when daylight came. And I think it's voice projection. I think it's some kind of voice projection that these things are doing in some instances. We're not saying that they're not strong enough to break limbs, but there were no carnage when they came out.
No.
which I find fascinating. Because everybody talks about them mimicking owls and mimicking all sorts of things. Well, why not mimic? He said it sounded like a shotgun going off, and then everything would go crazy. Trees breaking, trees splitting in half, all sorts of noises. Absolutely terrified him. I know, Steve-O, you'd asked a slightly different thing. When people were talking about the Beast of Barmston Drain, which I'm not saying isn't true, but I've not done enough sort of work on it, looking into it, simply because I were annoyed because most of the stories from there are from Flixton. But they were reporting one at newspapers about it attacking and eating an Alsatian dog. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. There'll be somebody upset with me now for saying that, won't there? I can't please everybody.
Okay, then let's have a look then. Right then, the Martin Abbas, welcome to the show if you're still with us, Martin. Those orbs or drones look a lot like those in the USA.
Yeah, do you know, Martin? And they are moving. I mean, the picture, the footage is as grainy as anything. I realise that, and that's the difficulty because you don't realise how dark it is there. It's absolutely pitch black, and so the camera's done well to even cope with that.
What could you see with your naked eye?
As regards the light out at sea, you couldn't see them lights. There were at least four of us there. There were me, Linny, Jeremy, and I think Mark were there. So there's at least four of us there. Couldn't see them with the naked eye. Could only see them with the psionics. And well, what's that telling us? I don't mean they were invisible to naked eye. I mean the viewing conditions just weren't right. But you can see them move with reference to that yellow light. What's he saying, Linny? We saw
the green light out at sea before the horizon. Could ship boats around it in a thermal. That light had no thermal, was not moving, and was there hours.
He's absolutely spot on. We were up there hours and hours. And Linny's got a good thermal camera. I have. We could see the boats, and there's a green light out there as well. And it were above the water, and we know that because Mark's got some good binoculars and it's casting a reflection. It's looking like it's above, and there's a green light just above the water. Now, what it was, we don't know, but there were no heat signature at all coming from it. So that were interesting. I forgot about that, to be honest with you, Ian.
Okay, thanks, Ian. Philip Morgan, how's Paul's research going for his next book, The Sub-Universe? Great Loch Ness video, Les. So how's your research going for your next book?
It's kind of going, Philip, but I've just got that many things on the go. I don't want to get a violin out, but we're caring for a relative that's not very well, and her son that needs a lot of help as well. And we're not carers as such. It's not a money thing. I don't like that. We're just doing that, and that's consuming a lot of time. There's things are just getting away, but I am still chipping away at it, and I will be doing that. Yeah, and. We're going to say, and as well as all the emails that I'm getting in, I mean, the Halifax Light, somebody contacted me in the week and said, have I had a look into the brilliant report that this guy gave me? All I can say is I've read it and I've got the report, but I will devote some time to it, but I haven't got round to devoting enough to it just yet. There's loads of reports. There's one from Hummonby that I got that I've kind of revived that I'd forgot about and spoke to the lady today. Yesterday, sorry.
Is there any video to go with the Halifax Lights all dinner?
There's some video and there's photographs, and I haven't had a chance to even look at them yet. So there's that to look at, and the Hummonby that location just throws up so many reports. I think I'd like to move to Hummonby, but there you go.
Okay, Paranormal Coffee Lounge. Les, be good to see you do shorts on haunted locations. Yep, if I can do that, I will.
Do you mean walking about in his shorts?
Yeah, probably that's what Paranormal Coffee Lounge means. Maybe, yeah. Point taken. No, take all that on board. And Ian says, Paul, we saw the green light out at sea below the horizon. I've had this, haven't I? Oh, no, that's right. Yeah. Could see ship's boats around it in a thermal. That light had no thermal, was not moving, and was there.
That's the same question, Les, isn't it?
Same question when I come to it.
Yeah.
Forgot to delete that one. He sent it twice today, and so he's trying to bamboozle me. Right, I'm more. Right, there we go then. Dragonborn, I'm more affected by the dark moon rather than the full moon. Wow.
Right, it'd be interesting, Dragonborn. And how does it? I know you can't really answer us, but how does it affect you? Does it affect your moods? I'm assuming it does. In which case, does it make you feel happier? I hope it does.
Okay, quick advert for your Truth Proof channel, Paul, and what can people do when they get there?
Well, same as every week.
Website, I should say.
Yeah, there's nothing changed. Truthproof.uk. If you want to purchase the paperback copies of the Truth Proof books, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Night People, or if you want an hard copy of the DVD Wolflands that May and Les Drake have made. If you want to look at the Kindle version of the books, go on to Amazon. And if you want, you can also look at Wolflands on Amazon Prime. And you can also get all of the aforementioned on eBay as well. So, yeah, it's quick and easy. Thank you.
Yeah. And let's have a look then. We've got another question. We've got a question from, right, here we go. Mark Anderson, gents, do you guys feel something imprints on you when you see an ILF? Do you come away feeling different, Paul?
I think when you're looking at the genuine things, Mark, there's a kind of buzz around it. You know, and I think everybody in chat, or a lot of people in chat, will be able to relate to this, no matter which type of phenomena that you invest your time in or you've had experience of. When it's there and when it's real, you know, you know there's a buzz to it. We can go up there, and Jeremy will typically say, it's a bit flat, isn't it? There's nothing happening. Don't mean we go, but that it can't be a buzz every night you go. I mean, I've just said to you that we film lights like this all the time. We literally do. Yeah. But we don't look upon that as anything special, to be honest with you. We've seen and experienced some really unusual things, and there is a feel to it. Whether it imprints on you, I don't know. But it's a good question, Mark. I mean, I think when you
well, one of the chaps up there did have a bad feeling, no, didn't he?
There's a few people had bad feelings, and some have had absolutely elative feelings. But you know, there's a lot of negative, or it feels a lot of negative. I noticed in chat, and I don't know if you're in chat tonight, but there's a lady who goes up there on a invalidity scooter.
Now
I don't think she'll mind me saying, because she put it in chat, she got pushed off it.
Really?
And I spoke to her on Friday night. Well, Linny did as well, and she were keen to tell us that she were in the village, but suddenly she's either side of me. There's two identical people. That's what she said. She said they were identical. They were like twins. She said, and the next thing I know, I'm on the floor, and there's no sign of these people. She'd cut her leg and everything. Yeah. That's the story. I've got no more on it, but maybe just two people, wrong uns, that have just pushed somebody off an invalidity scooter, you know. But there you go.
Okay, Scotch Mist is saying full moon does affect people. I've seen it in a hospital I worked in for special needs patients. Behaviour changed. Yeah,
it's fascinating, Scotch, isn't it? You know, and it's devoting your time to projects and things, isn't it? Because it's something that would interest me, but I wouldn't have time to sort of look into it in any detail. But I bet you somebody could go off on this, and people will have done, won't they? Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this discussion now, would we?
Al Durham says full moons have been more active and violent since the 1980s, as I've experienced.
Full moons have been more active and violent. What do you mean, Al? Do you mean there's more violence since the 1980s? I'm not sure what you mean there, Al.
I'm not so sure what you mean. Does it mean violence on Earth?
I don't know. I'll ring him later. I'll get a call out.
He might put it in the chat.
He will do. Al's. If anybody, if Al Durham, now Durham, that's the clue. Anybody got any research or anything that they want to share with anybody from that area, contact me and I'll pass it on to Al Durham, because he's as good as anybody for looking into stuff. I'll tell you now.
Okay, Paul, the Paranormal Coffee Lounge. Paul, have you read about John Keel's theory on the flashes of light? Interesting.
I haven't, Terry. No, I haven't. But if it's John Keel's theory, it'll be good. It'll be well worth reading. So, what book is that then? Just throw that one out there if you want, for anybody else that might be interested.
Okay. Yeah, Lee, one of our moderators tonight. Welcome, Lee. Question, Paul, the latest show on the last transmission. Do you think it's a ghost dog, as it seems to attract to the animal?
Do you know, we wondered that. It does seem to be. It had an affinity to the dogs. You know, Dave, who saw it in 2024, said it was paralleling his two dogs. This lady who was with her husband in 2015 said it were paralleling their two collies. Well, one collie, because they thought that they were two at first, they'd not really looked. But it's interesting because we've got something that, excuse me, it's not fully formed. It's between worlds, and it's got an awareness. When the dog was lost and the husband found it, it was following them back. The husband couldn't wait to get the dog in the vehicle and get away. It followed them back. Now, we've put that one out, or I've put that one out, hoping that more people in the area will come forward. I've been told there's one already that's going to share something with us. So, you know, it really is good. And once you're in an ancient place when you're in Flixton, it's really old. The buildings are old. You've got Carman Spittle that were, you know, the refuge built for the protection of travellers, lest they be devoured by this infestation of savage beasts. And that's what the old writings say. 937 AD, and that's down there. Do you know what I mean? What were the savage beasts? It said lest they be devoured by wolves. Wolves. So we knew that wolves would be prevalent, don't we? In 937 AD, they'd be rife around England. But we didn't have bears. They'd gone 1,500 to 2,000 years before. But it said by wolves and an infestation of savage beasts. What were the savage beasts? I find that little nugget fascinating. Carman Spittle at Flixton, and you know,
I mean that whole area is really fascinating because RAF Staxton, which is the military base, not far from the roundabout, the inn. What you're talking about? Yeah. How long has it been there, Paul, to your knowledge? And what do you think? And what do you think was up there before then, or what did they do up there?
Well, it was built on a Roman hill fort.
Yeah,
and it's been there since 1934. So that's fascinating in itself. And if you look over about a mile between Staxton Wold and Speeton, you're about a mile away. You've got Sharp Howe, the burial mounds of Sharp Howe, a barrow cemetery. And it's a brilliant place. It really is fascinating and steeped in history. And likewise, you know, we're getting these reports, these repeat reports from these areas, and that's what makes it special, really.
Simon, I'm Mogul. Any more info on the werewolf sighting near Bridlington a few weeks ago?
No, I haven't. My mind were blank then, Simon. You'll have seen that little vacant look on my face. We don't know what it was, Simon. That's the reason I was racking my brains. It was canine, by what the witness told myself and Les, and we've spent time filming him, and we're gonna speak with him again. What info can I give you? I think on Tuesday we'll be putting is it Tuesday, Les? We're putting a short out which I've put together, and Les is going to lob that one out Tuesday.
So, and watch that one on Tuesday because there'll be a lot more info on that one. Yeah,
a lot more info. And Linny and Martin Abbas sort of were helping me with that because I could walk, but I was in a bit of pain then with my back. And then I've since been in the woods in the night and spent some time in them once, and I've done another one which is even longer. It's not giving us any clues, guys, but I just wanted to get a feel for atmosphere by spending a few hours in darkness in there. Well, I've got my protector, I've got the bobster, so I were all right. You know what I mean?
Well, so there we go.
No more news on it, mate. But mark my words, other people may have seen this. You know, something else will come out.
Well, some good info here from FL 2012. Research here in Ireland shows UFO sightings follow a path along a geological fault line. That's
great stuff. And I wouldn't disagree with you. I don't know. And I should imagine that research will follow, pardon the pun, follow through probably geological fault lines throughout the world then.
Steve 71. Paul, do you have any reports of different phenomena interacting with one another?
I think what it is, Steve, I think it's the locations. We won't say the location is the interaction, but there's certain areas where you get lots of different phenomena, so almost coming through a mixture. Whether they're interacting with one another, I don't know. I just think it's something attracts them to the area, something allows them to seep through. I don't know. Not necessarily interacting though, you know. But I did note when we made Wolflands and well, it was before Will Dance. It was 2019, November 12th and November 14th. The 2019, there'd been a cryptid sighting on November the 12th at Speeton, which we found. They didn't find these things out straight away. I found that one out during COVID. When during lockdown or alleged lockdown, we found that one. But then myself and Lee Haywood, we'd already got the 2019 November the 14th huge sphere of light just a mile away. And 2 days before, somebody had a cryptid sighting, which we found out about afterwards. Well, that's not interacting, but it's telling you that something in the area is priming these unexplained events to happen, in my opinion.
Okay. South Coast Rich, going back to Fenwick Moor, seems to be close to Moncton, where a lady stayed from her car and was found dead in nearby countryside.
Do you know, South Coast Rich, I've heard people connect this tragedy to things like that, and I'm not saying that you're wrong to talk about it, but I think without any proof, and you're not saying that, I realise that it's kind of it's tricky ground to walk on. But Moncton, I've got an incredible cryptid report from Moncton as well. Another one, and I can't remember the date of it, but I think we're going back to 1990s, and I've spoken about it a couple of times, and maybe do that one next week or something, and you'll see how graphic it is.
Okay, then we'll move on with this one from Rod. Paul and Les, have you ever investigated away from the northeast coast?
I think everything, Rod, is going away from East and North Yorkshire now. Lots of reports coming in, and it sort of goes with the territory. I've tons to do here, so I'll probably not get all over the place. But
well, that's it. I mean, you just alluded to the fact you've been sent video, photographs, and a story from Halifax. Lights.
Yeah, absolutely, and in a way, Rod, you're spot on. Yeah, we get loads, and because you can call it investigation, because half of the so-called investigators never actually move from a similar position that I'm in now, and they think they're doing it all via the keyboard and looking at newspapers and putting their slant on what they've seen. And to me, that's not investigative work. I'm getting out last week on Friday to Flixton and speaking to them witnesses. That's what it's all about. You're face to face. You're meeting people. That's more important. I'm not saying that people in chat don't do that. I'm sure lots of people do, but a lot of people who are writing books that never leave the chair. They call that investigating.
And I think if you remember, Paul, I think we was trying to set up an interview, and the guy's already been featured on the channel with his story from a guy who lives down south, and he was going to be in the next Wolflands film, wasn't he?
That's correct.
So that was a meeting outside the, well away from the area where we are now.
Yeah, and some of it will gravitate to other places. It's got to do, because not everything happens here. It's just that I'm investing a lot of time in this area. But it's a good question.
Zeno, Hales Delos Canon teaches us that when we get that gut feeling, it's because something bad will happen and we get an update from our subconscious in every other you
in the multiverse.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to that, Zeno, isn't there? Let's face it.
Yeah.
You do get a feeling when something's not quite right, or when something bad's going to happen, or when something's good's going to happen. It's that intuition, isn't it? But yeah.
Okay, right. Stephen Collin. Paul, just say the word and I will go with you to stack some walls.
Yeah, well, Stephen, it was, for all those that don't know, it was Stephen that set those witnesses up for me. So thank you, Stephen. And he came up with us on Friday. And yeah, we'll go. And I don't mean we'll go in next few months and months and months. We'll go. It's a given. I want to spend some time. There's an area. If those witnesses, independent to one another, are saying they saw this type of phenomena in that location within 200 yards of each other, it don't mean you're going to go and you're going to experience it, but the probability is higher of experiencing something there than in other places, I would think. So yeah, I'm game for that.
Okay, Bent Toast. I had an encounter on Fenwick Moor around 1979 with my dad, driving back from the hospital in Kilmarnock to East Kilbride. We were seeing my gran. I've never seen my dad so shook up.
Right, and that is good. Honestly, it's good because I'm not sure. I don't think you're the same person talking about Fenwick Moor, are you? And
no, this is another one where
yeah, I love that thumbnail.
Well,
I can't.
the encounter is what we'll want to hear more of, really.
Yeah,
isn't it?
tell us more about it. Get in touch, Burnt Toast.
What's your email?
Yeah, my email.
Yeah.
It's all lowercase, and it's Paul Sinclair, ILF@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I'll just put that on the screen if people
Oh, there it is.
didn't take that in. I was just waiting for you to say it, Paul, and I thought I'd put it up. Right,
Okay.
okay. So there we go. Paul Sinclair, ILF@gmail.com. If you want to give any more information on that. Let's have a look then. We have, how much time I've got left in the show? About 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes, yeah. Right, then here we go. Ian is asking for Les, when are you coming up to Bempton again? Well, I'm coming up when Paul brings the flask and the sandwiches and the biscuits.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm coming. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm
you
all
just
good
want
for
what you
that.
want, Les. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right then. Any from Rod, any guests of note coming up in the future?
No, it's
We'll be
difficult,
honest.
Rod.
We'll be honest here, yeah.
We you kind of put the word out, and a lot of the time you hear nothing back. So you know, I don't mean it's a bit soul destroying, but you do put the word out, and you do ask people, and some of them they're going to come on, and you can't even arrange to do a little 5-minute segment beforehand to check cameras work and everything else. And I think a lot of people find this. You know, I mean, we're not Howard Hughes, bless him. You know, God bless him, but or any of these big channels. But a lot of them just have people just devoted to finding guests, and unfortunately, I just don't have time to do that. So that's why we throw it out to you guys. If you've got any contacts with anybody that you think that our audience and your part of our audience would be interested in, get in touch with them for us. And I have followed up of quite a few of what you guys have given me. We've had a bit of success with some and no success with others.
Okay.
They can tell us, brothers, soon maybe. Well, we had, I don't. They're always entertaining. Philip and Ron.
Simon, Iron Moogle. When in Flamborough a few weeks ago, during the day, we saw what resembled the crepuscular rays on the horizon, but the sun was behind us. They also seemed to converge into one point, and it looked very strange. Right. For the ignorant, what's a crepuscular ray?
Are you asking me? Why did you ask me that?
Well,
I don't know.
That.
No, but it's interesting. I'll have to write it down and Google it, Simon. So and Les has just put me on the spot.
Yeah.
No, but the point is, I'm assuming then that it's something that you would see with certain sun conditions, and the conditions were wrong for you to see that on the horizon. Did you get any photographs of it, Simon? And that, I mean, we've noted, and nothing to do with the sun, when we're looking inland on that particular hill where we seem to note a bit of activity, we're seeing little domes of light, and it's not, and what separates it from the actual sky conditions is it's a definite dome of light, but it's not a torch. It's weird, and we stand there kind of discussing it and saying, "Can you see it?" And we can all see it. Then they just seem to dissipate. That's not crepuscular, but it's a great word, that, isn't it?
Well, that's what it looks like then when I've googled it.
Right. No, razor light.
Yeah, rays of light. Yeah. Good one. Right. Thanks for that, Simon. Listen, Maverick 64. Listen to a Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar podcast. Could we get Bob on?
Do you know something, Maverick? We can ask, but I'm not sure we will, because we had the guys on who made the Bob Lazar film.
We did.
I can't remember the name, but they've made that film with Bob Lazar. Can't even remember the title of the film. But I did reach out to them because they're going to be a good stepping stone to get to Bob Lazar.
Of course.
And they said, we doubt it. He does not do interviews. Unless you're Joe Rogan or maybe Coast to Coast or something. I don't know. And we're not.
Conscious of the time. Oh, probably got one more question in, and
Okay.
let's have a look. And the last question comes from Dragonborn. Sorry if I didn't read any of your questions out tonight. We are stuck to 1 hour exactly. Dark moon makes me feel
Energized.
energized and happy. Full moon feel as though everything is such an effort, opposite to the usual. I like to be different.
Right. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Dragonborn. And I wonder how the moon affects you guys. I know the moon's affecting me now, and we're going to sort of wind it down. And an hour's flown. Thank you very much for all questions and support.
Brilliant.
Appreciate it.
Support is phenomenal as always. So thanks everybody for feeding the questions through. Everybody for being on the chat tonight. Thanks to Alison and Lee for moderating. But
And
most
Jess.
of all, and thanks to Paul Sinclair for being part of my show.
Yeah. All right. That's your show, is it? Right. Well, there we go. All right then.
All right then. See you
See ya.
guys,
Good
and we'll
night.
see you on Thursday with a good following wind. Bye.
Right. Good night.